Hello guys, welcome back again to my channel. When jungle matured, we will know who is who. Guess what? That the Northern region has finally agreed with Nnamdi Kanu that Nigeria has expired. IPB leader, lawyer, that is react to Ango Abdullah's comments because this is getting out of hand. But I think I already have some comments or some replies on this. Someone said that our mind is on the 2nd of December 2024. That will be the final funeral of Nigeria. Someone replied, they are coming to understand it's very late because they don't see the handwriting on the wall. Someone said that Nigerians are aware that Nigeria have expired, but their love for the country that have brought them nothing but pain and agony prevent them from uniting to demand Nigeria dissolution. But the thing is that this was what Nnamdi Kanu said 2014 that made the government to go after him. He said Nigeria have expired. That means that this should divide Nigeria to different regions, Biafra, Yoruba nation, and then the rest. And then that was what he said, and the government went for him. But guess what? These same people have said the same thing, and the government have not moved an inch or said anything about arresting the northern leader that said this. But because Nnamdi Kanu is an Igbo man, the government went for him, arrested him for over how many years now to face trial. We do not have any single evidence. But I think I'll let you guys hear what Obi Aguocha has to say about this issue, because I think finally the DSS have granted Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer access to Nnamdi Kanu, which is a great news to us, because we can know the current state of Nnamdi Kanu. Because before we didn't know for 2 months what was happening in that DSS detention, but now they have access to him. And now let me let you guys hear that interview and hear what he said in our news. I'll be able to catch shortly.
Increasing worry across Nigeria about the fate of the separatist leader Nnamdi Kanu. One man who's worked tirelessly to help secure his freedom would have to be Honorable Obi Aguocha, who is a member of the House of Representatives. He's done everything possible to help Mr. Kanu regain his freedom, from rallying dozens of politically middle-of-the-road federal lawmakers across party and ethnic lines, to writing to President Tinubu and calling for Mr. Kanu's urgent release. And now, after yet another intervention by him, Mr. Kanu's legal team have conducted their first successful visitation with their client since September. That small victory captures the difficulties faced by both Mr. Aguocha and Nnamdi Kanu's legal team in trying to create a pathway to Mr. Kanu's freedom, even as many across Nigeria express dismay, incomprehension, and anger at his continued incarceration. So, amid all the upset, where do things stand at the moment in that campaign, as a stony-faced government continues to rebuff all entreaties to set the captive free? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the member of the National Assembly representing the Ikwana-Umuahia Federal Constituency, Honorable Obi Aguocha. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you, Charles. I'm happy to be back here again.
Well, it's good to see you again.
Thank you, Sam.
So this is a small victory, isn't it? But it is certainly a victory of sorts, getting Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers, who haven't visited him since September. To gain access to him. And they issued a statement thanking you and commending you for your effort in that regard. How did you pull it off?
Well, easily. The lawyers approached me sometime in September, not just as somebody who is at the forefront of the advocacy, but also as Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's representative at the Federal House. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is from Umuahia North. I'm also from Umuahia North. We grew up together. We played soccer in Umuahia. So he's somebody well known. Both families are well known to each other. So it is my utmost responsibility as a Federal House member representing him to speak for him where no one else would speak for him. Not just for him, but for many others in that gap who may be facing one challenge or the other, especially in the administration of criminal justice as it pertains to Nigeria. So I've been speaking about him. We've started to make some headway. Previously, it was very combative between the government's approach and, of course, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's legal team's approach. So they approached me to say, well, for over a period of time, they've not had access to him. So I wrote to the director of DSS. He responded. Rather than escalate it in the chamber of the House of Representatives, I chose to involve my speaker. And we had a tripartite meeting between myself, the speaker, and the DG SSS, and we resolved some of the issues. pending when the lawyers will come together, because the matter is still in court. The judge handling the matter was also involved in the process. But yesterday was the first time that the lawyers were given access to him at the directive of the DGSSS, whom I commend him tremendously. He has come to this position, a very difficult position, in handling a very sensitive issue. But he has come in this position also being mindful that the issue at hand is a very sensitive issue, and he's putting a human face to it.
Forgive me if I beg to differ, but I mean, this is a democratic country, and in a democracy, somebody has the right to a legal defense team.
Of course.
In whatever circumstance
Well, I
they
thought as
find
much too.
themselves in.
I thought as much too.
So for all this sort of thank you and so on and so forth, I don't understand. It's his legal right, isn't it?
The legal issues, like I said in my earlier statement, that are well known to both parties, it stemmed from the Nnamdi Kanu's legal team requesting for a recusal of the judge. So the judge, recall, recused herself. So the position of the DSS, or the position of the government, now becomes, well, since the judge has recused herself from the matter, there are no longer issues of consultation between the lawyers and Nnamdi Kanu.
Well, that's perverse.
However, even some of the applications that were made in court were withdrawn, because the same question would have been asked. Well, if the same judge has recused himself, and all the decisions of the judge, as the government had claimed, was a nullity, then the same judge was the one that gave the detention order for Nnamdi Kanu. So that ought to have rendered that also as
null
a nullity.
and void.
Null and void.
But even beyond that, I mean, it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. It is his
fundamental right.
It is his legal right,
yes,
to ask for a judge to be recused if he feels that he's not getting
fair
the right
trials.
treatment. That does not preclude. It's got nothing to do with his right to have access to his lawyers.
I perfectly agree with you. That was the position we took. That was the position even in the meeting between myself, the speaker, and the DGSS. I took that position. Mr. Speaker concurred with that position. Even the DG concurred. Now, while I was saying thank you, the DG could have easily come to that meeting and feign ignorance of the law and say, no, well, let's status quo remain. Let's keep, going at each other. They will release one press statement. The Kanu lawyers will release one press statement. But he recognizes the position of the law and set aside the office of DSS, who could have come in as a cowboy. But he now said, no, I want things to be done properly. He gave the room to allow myself, the speaker, the lawyers of Nnamdi Kanu to be engaged in this, in finding a solution that will enable both sides at least to begin to talk and have access to Nnamdi Kanu. It's not just that. There were issues as well concerning the health of Nnamdi Kanu. It was rumored that he was dead. It was rumored that he was ill, which I also asked the DG. The DG, for the first time, they've never had it before, allowed Nnamdi Kanu to choose a doctor of his own choice, and at the same time allowed him to also to choose a medical facility beyond the government medical facilities for his treatment. Nnamdi Kanu has exercised that privilege, and will continue as well to.
So he's now gone to the hospital.
Oh yeah, he's gone. The last time he went was, I think, October the 3rd.
Right.
And he confirmed it to me because part of my effort was also to see him, to discuss with him, to know his thought process as to everything that is going around, and also to brief him and to make him understand the circumstances around. And then he assured me that he's comfortable with the doctor that he chose. He's comfortable with the medical facility that that he chose as well to go to. So on issues of access and issues of management of his health, I can say that this current DG of SSS has been very cordial, has been very respectful.
Much more so than in the past. Right.
Much more than in the past. That was why I said he has shown a human face.
But in the larger scheme of things, how much does it move the needle forward in terms of getting Mr. Kanu closer to breathing the air of freedom?
Just, I can tell you, the whole lot of things have been done, not just by me, but well-meaning Nigerians, stakeholders, who have found this to be an issue of injustice, who has also found this to appear, like the last time I was there, I said it would appear that there are two sets of rules in Nigeria, one for every other Nigerian and another one for the Igbo man. Where every other Nigerian will scale certain circumstances, the Igbo man will find it very difficult to scale. But that what we thought would have been more meaningful is the invocation of sections 174 of the Nigerian Constitution that allows the Attorney General, before the determination or a judgment of the court, that he can write to withdraw the matter. There are precedents that have already been set on this. So we are just asking, well, the way they have done for Igbo, the way they have done for Sowore and many others, that Nnamdi Kanu is entitled to those fundamental rights as a citizen.
Well, you mentioned Section 174 of the Nigerian Constitution. I recall that in June, you made a direct appeal to President Tinubu, along with dozens of your colleagues at the National Assembly, urging him to order the Attorney General to discontinue the case based on that section 174, which gives him the power to end the trial in the public interest and in the interest of justice. Did you ever hear back from the President or the Attorney General?
Like I said, we've met with the Attorney General. I've met with him several times. I've met with his Chief of Staff of Mr. President and many other government functionaries. The only person I have not met one-on-one now is Mr. President. And for obvious reasons. He has to be satisfied with the legal position and also satisfied with the security positions. So I wish to talk so much, but so much has been happening now. The confidentiality of that is also what I said as a government officer.
You can't reveal.
That I can't reveal, I can't, but I am very optimistic that after all said and done, recently, my amiable governor, Dr. Alex Oti, also talked about it, having met Mr. President, and some assurances that were given to my governor by Mr. President. Those assurances that have been given to my governor remain consistent with the assurances also that I have been given and the things that I have worked with certain circle that have been put up for this. And I'm very optimistic that within no short distance time, Nnamdi Kanu will be released from detention. Whether he's going to be released by the invocation of Section 174, or whether he's going to be granted bail, the Supreme Court, after all, said that the lower court ought not to have revoked his bail, considering the circumstances that he faced before he absconded. Meaning the military came to his home, ransacked his home, and he escaped. Possibly, if he was there, he would have been shot dead, just like many others. The Supreme Court held that under the circumstances, his actions of running away was justifiable. That's what the Supreme Court said. So that since they have already said that he cannot be denied bail, it is also our desire that if bail can be granted to him, I am willing, able to countersign that bail so that he can have the ability to leave detention, at least to be able to take care of himself, see his family, and undertake other activities that such a person should.
And in terms of the case against him, the last we heard he was facing 7 counts of terrorism. which he denies, as well as belonging to a prescribed organization, which is IPOB. Is that still the case against him?
Yeah, those are the current charges. They have not added more charges.
Because you never know these things.
You never know these things. These things are very dynamic.
They change, yeah.
But however, the question we ought to be able to ask is, Nnamdi Kanu legally in Nigeria? The answer is no. The rendition that brought him to Nigeria was said, but it was illegal. That's what the Supreme Court said. It was illegal. Charles, the major, they can try all they want to do, but they cannot try to convict Nnamdi Kanu, because if you convict him based on that, then the position of the Supreme Court will be much more federal in terms of the Supreme Court has said, well, you shouldn't have brought him here in the first instance. There are legal processes that ought to have happened between the Nigerian state and Kenya for Nigeria to seek extradition of Nnamdi Kanu, rather than going over there, forcefully kidnapping him and bringing him back to Nigeria. But I think since there's a precedent, that the most important thing that the Nigerian state ought to be able to do now is to seek a political solution that will end this nightmare for everybody, and end this frustration for Nnamdi Kanu, bring about peace and stability in the Southeast, and peace and stability in Nigeria at all.
I was going to say, you took the words right out of my mouth, because I was going to say that your consistent argument, which you have made stridently, and which you made in that letter that you wrote to President Tinubu, is that you are fairly certain that Nnamdi Kanu's freedom will not only calm the fraught security situation in the Southeast, and indeed elsewhere in the country, but will lead to an economic renaissance,
of course,
which will boost the image of President Tinubu in the Southeast and beyond, amongst a sizable portion
not just the image of President Tinubu, also boost the image of the Southeast. The Southeast are very industrious people. We're very peaceful by nature. Our disposition is built on a specific character that talks about that you have a right, fundamental right to exist, and we also have a fundamental right to exist. After all, there are no more tribe in Nigeria that is more nationalistic than the Igbo man. You go anywhere in the country, you see brick and mortar, permanent fixtures, means that those people have identified those places as a place they can live, as a place they can raise their families, and it's a place they can work. Unlike most other Nigerians who even come to Igbo land, their presence in the Southeast is more transitional, meaning they come for one specific thing. Once that is done, they move on. But Nnamdi Kanu, like I said, in my private visit, in his utterances, both in court, have said that he believes in the economic development of the Southeast. And President Tinubu, having signed the Southeast Development Commission, it's a good start for the rehabilitation and reconstruction of the Southeast since post-Civil War. Nobody is against that. Nnamdi Kanu has called for an economic renaissance that will tie every state to work together for the common good, not just of the Southeast. If the Southeast is fixed, less crime, less hopelessness and not enough opportunity, every other person will come to the Southeast to participate in the economic activities there. He has also renounced violence. He has also renounced Monday sit-at-homes that have ravaged the economic activities of the Southeast. And he has also renounced the high level of crime and criminality, banditry and assassination that are prevalent in the Southeast as we speak. Christmas time is coming. How many people are willing to go home this Christmas time, more afraid of high crimes and criminality? If we take Nnamdi Kanu out of this factor, we will now know those who are responsible for the high crimes and criminality in the Southeast, because they are now benefiting from the economics of high crime. So it will take some time, but the first step to that taking time is to be able to get Nnamdi Kanu out to freedom.
Beyond the points that you made so eloquently and clearly there, how much does this raise questions for you as a lawmaker in Nigeria about the respect that this country's rulers, if you like, have for the judiciary?
Well,
because there seems to be, I mean, the repeated case, orders of court and so on and so
they have
forth.
been violated by the state.
Just
In
completely,
the past, they have been violated
ignored.
by the state and been ignored by the state. So where lie the moral obligation or responsibility of the state to continue to detain Mazi Nnamdi Kanu?
But does that drive you more beyond Nnamdi Kanu? Because I mean, this is a case of simply the arms of government and which one absolutely which one has preeminence over the other. I mean, does that make you as a lawmaker say we've got to do something?
It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating, like I just said to you as well. It's very frustrating, but you have to keep moving. I wake up every single day thinking more. What do I have to do more to ensure that my constituent, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, is free? He is my primary responsibility, not just him, but many others in that gap. And I'm speaking for every issue that concerns injustice. Now, it's frustrating. In the management of the administration of criminal justice, it doesn't swing in one direction, just like many others have swung in that direction, where many people who were charged in the same way they charged Mazi Nnamdi Kanu for treasonable offenses have all themselves been at the determination of the court, and rightfully so. I'm not saying that is wrong.
Obviously, there are different circumstances.
But there's different
let's face
circumstances.
it,
But at the determination of the court said to let them go. So why do you continue to keep Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? And I've said it can be just the ethnic colorations or tribal colorations or religious colorations, but there are people who are satisfied in allowing him to be there to rot to death.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Omoyele Sowore, for example, I mean, he wasn't leading, although he called for revolution now and so on, but he wasn't leading a separatist movement of armed people who were going out and sort of attacking.
Isn't Nnamdi leading an armed group? The question is no. The question is no, Charles. Absolutely. Is he leading an armed group?
No, you mean now?
Even then and now.
Yeah, well, the government says that he was.
That's what the government says. Has the government been able to prove it?
And they link the organization.
Has the government been able to prove it, Charles?
Well, the case isn't over yet.
Have they not been able to prove it?
They link what his organization.
I can agree with you. I can agree with you, Charles. Let me tell you this, because just like when I went to visit President Buhari, I said to President Buhari that I'm sorry for every, unpleasant utterances that my brother may have made against you, because one, you are the president, he's not. You're an elder statesman, he's not. So we still are Africans. We have respect for elders. There are certain ways that you can talk to your age mate, and there are also ways that you should not talk to your elders. So to the extent that some of his utterances may have been found wanting, so I'm here to say I am sorry. It is the responsibility of a father to smack a child and then use the other hand to bring it back.
And he said to you, up your nose with a
No, he didn't say that. But this is what he said. After, I spent almost 2.5 hours with him.
Right.
After the discussions, he says, son, for your humility and the manner that you've approaching this issue and that you've also come to me, I will not oppose any political solutions or ideas that would lead to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's release from detention.
But it didn't happen, did it?
It hasn't happened.
While he was president.
But is the work that was when he was. This was when he was out of being president. By recent visit. But he's a critical stakeholder.
Right.
He's a critical stakeholder that you would not.
Well, we've got about a minute or so left. Basically, beyond the very encouraging things you have said, which are sort of off the cuff, if you like, in terms of the sort of the face of it, you're no closer at this point to breaking the chains that continue to bind Nnamdi Kanu and to keep him firmly
we're very close.
under lock and key?
No, we're very close.
No, I understand what you mean, that you're close, but that is something that's taking place behind the scenes.
I'm also trying to maintain, as a government officer, to maintain
that's what I mean.
A cloak of secrecy,
right?
Confidentiality.
But your confidence has grown.
But my confidence, if we were just as minute as it was,
right
now my confidence is grown. The government, at least, is engaging, unlike previously where they didn't want to engage. Now we are talking. Now, when we raise objections about this and that, they are helping us to move the needle and to move the gauge and everything more further. But I believe that in the nearest or shortest possible time, as my governor recently said, Nnamdi Kanu will be free. The Southeast will be free from high crimes and criminality, banditry and assassinations that are now commonplace. The Southeasterners can now go home to do their businesses, to see their families, and be more engaging. So the government has given us an opportunity to now engage. And I'm taking everywhere possible time to ensure that we do that.
For somebody to come up and say the same thing another person said, but that person was arrested and the other person was not arrested, is not look like a nice judgment, because it's as if they're not being biased, because he's an Igbo, he's a not person. But why did they arrest Nnamdi Kanu? Because he said that Nigeria have expired, and you see the main reason why Nigeria have expired is just that Nigeria was created in 1914, and they said that it is meant to expire in 100 years. And then 100 years was around 2014, which was that when Nnamdi Kanu made that statement that Nigeria have expired. And it took Northerners 10 years to know that Nigeria have expired, because they feel so much hunger and so much suffering in Nigeria. Then they now woke up and said, yes, Nigeria have expired, and Nigeria need to divide. Let Biafra go, let Urban nation go, let different tribe go, because they've seen the shake and they've woken up to realize that Nigeria have gone. And like I read in that comment, that someone said that it's already late to know that, because Nigeria have, imagine going extra 10 years. Because they said Nigeria will expire 100 years from 1914, which ends in 2014. But the people turn blind eyes when Nnamdi Kanu said this, and everybody turned Nnamdi Kanu as a terrorist that want to scatter Nigeria, whereas he's coming to say what was meant to stand, because it was obvious that Nigeria is meant to expire 2014. That means everybody should go in the region if things are not working well. And guess what? Things were not working well then he now brought up, okay, let's now divide, because it's already time to divide. Then the government termed the terrorists and was trying to arrest him, which they succeeded in 2015. And since then, Nnamdi Kanu has been in his detention for not just cause, because the government cannot provide any single proof that Nnamdi Kanu did this or did that. But because of the wickedness, they left Nnamdi Kanu in detention till now. And thank God that they allowed the lawyer to have access to Nnamdi Kanu, because if not, me and you don't know what is happening to Nnamdi Kanu. We don't know what he's all about. We don't know his health situation. We don't know anything about Nnamdi Kanu, because I believe we need to know what's happening to Nnamdi Kanu to know where we stand. But guess what? And some of them have been standing in for Nnamdi Kanu ever since he was arrested, and I think he's doing a right job for those that have seen what he's doing, because he's now putting threat on the government to the extent that our Senate President Obi is trying to go to India for him, and then he now told him that you should come to India, you not go back to Nigeria alive. You know what kind of war they're trying to come between them. That's because some of them have looking up to stand for in place of Nnamdi Kanu. But I think I like guys, if you watch the comment section, I'm going to get shortly in my next video. If you're new, subscribe.